Jeff Bennett's the Assistant Chief of Sylvania Fire and EMS, and we are delighted to have him here with us on Spotlight. And we're going to discuss fire department operations. How many fire stations do you oversee, and how many people are employed in Sylvania Fire and EMS?
Well, thanks again for having me back, Brian. Actually, we have 4 fire stations here in Sylvania Township and City. Those are staffed by 73 line firefighter paramedics. That's including 12 of those being lieutenants that are in charge of each apparatus in those stations. We have 1 full-time fire captain who's in charge of training and safety that works an administrative schedule of 40 hours a week. We have 1 fire marshal that also works 40 hours a week. He's in charge of our community affairs and our fire inspections. To assist with those fire inspections, we have 1 full-time inspector and 1 part-time inspector that work throughout the week as well. We have 4 office staff that work in our office. They have a variety of duties, which include public information and facilities, budget, ambulance billing, and compliance, and they all do a great job up here handling those things. We have 3 battalion chiefs. That's 1 for each of our shifts. We work 1 day on, 2 days off, so we have a battalion chief or shift leader for each of those days. And then we have 2 administrative chiefs, which include myself and Chief Nye.
So, if there needs to be an investigation, if there's suspected arson, or you're looking at a cause of the folks you just mentioned, who would handle that?
So some of our line firefighters, as well as our lieutenants, are investigators. Our fire marshal is an investigator. Our battalion, we have a battalion chief that's an investigator. And then any fire investigations, we work with law enforcement or the state fire marshal's office to have those done as well.
What makes someone decide to go into the firefighting business as a career?
Probably the 2 biggest things that I've seen is generational career. You know, you've had an uncle or a father or something like grandfather that was in the business. But the other thing that seems to be a common theme is somebody that's experienced an emergency as a commoner, if you want to call it that, and they didn't know what to do, and they decided, you know what, I don't want that to happen again. So that's kind of what happened to me. Ever since I was a little kid, I used to watch Emergency on TV. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that, but Johnny Gage, Roy DeSoto. It was a story about LA County Fire Department when they started the paramedic program, and they did a great job. It was very realistic. And so that kind of piqued my interest as a child. But then I had several incidents where I had friends that were injured, or I came across an accident or something like that, and I realized this would be beneficial training for somebody to have, even in their off-duty time, to be able to know what to do.
And how long have you been on the job?
So I've actually been on the fire department for 25 and a half years, but I did 10 years of private EMS as a paramedic as well. So I've been at it for over 35 years now.
Give us a story about maybe something that has stuck with you that made you feel proud to be a firefighter.
That I was actually on?
Yeah.
Boy, it's really hard to narrow down, because when you think about it, the hundreds, if not thousands, of people that I've come in contact with, you know, I just have to say, anytime that somebody calls, it's their worst day. And if I can show up and make that day a little better or take care of that problem, that's the kind of thing that makes me want to keep doing this job.
You're kind of describing something that could be considered a recruiting poster. If you could put that on a poster, let's talk about recruitment for a moment, because obviously you have openings from time to time. What needs do you have? Are they current? And how do you go about recruiting the right person to be a member of your department?
Sure, it's a very complex answer that I'm going to have to give you here, because it's a complex issue. Across the country, recruitment and retention for fire and police has been a challenge. I don't exactly know why. I believe it's generational. I believe that COVID had some stuff to do with it, because of opening the eyes of the fact that we can't get away from a pandemic. We're right in the middle of it, you know, when something like that happens. All I know is that when I got on this fire department 25 and a half years ago, I first tested at Toledo for a job there. I tested against 3,000 or 4,000 people. When I came here, I tested against a couple hundred. Today, Toledo, when they give a test, I hear they get no more than like maybe 300 at the most. And then in our situation, we've had times where we've had openings in our department. We haven't had enough people on our list to fill it. So it's been a significant change. So we've been really looking at what we can do for recruitment retention. So we've been trying to think outside the box. We obviously promote our department as much as we can. We talk to paramedic programs that are currently have students in them to try to get them interested in coming and seeing us. But one of the biggest things that we've done recently to take this head on is we've approached Sylvania schools to ask them if they would consider putting on a fire EMT career tech program. And they were absolutely thrilled with that offer. And we are moving forward that project that's starting in fall of this year.
And will that be an extended program over time, or is it a one-day thing? How does that work?
So it'll start with the junior class of this year in fall. And what that'll be is they'll attend classes a couple days a week, just like the rest of their career tech. There are only like a portion of the day. And they will actually attend classes here at the fire department. So, which is kind of a change from other career tech programs that have fire training. It's going to be a neat aspect for the kids to be doing that. They'll be taught by their now current med tech instructor, Dave Langendon, who's a retired Springfield firefighter. They're going to be taught the EMT fire portions of that for their junior year. And then their senior year, they will continue that training 3 classes a day. And by the time that they're done, and this is something we're really proud of, is you'll have Sylvania kids that have been raised here in Sylvania, went to school here in Sylvania. They will graduate high school here in Sylvania, but when they graduate, they will graduate with a Fire 1 and 2 certification and an EMT certification. So that will allow them to start working at places right then. But since Sylvania Fire Department only hires paramedics, we have worked on an agreement with Owens that they can then go directly to Owens, attend 9 to 10 months of paramedic training, and in that time would be fully certified to come back and work for us. The entire time that they're doing this training, they'll be doing ride time with us, working side by side with our current firefighter paramedics and building a relationship with them so that when it is time for them to come back, it'll be like coming home to a job.
Sounds like a good system to get more people in the pipeline, and that's critical. I mean, when you dial 911, somebody's got to show up, right? I mean, we can't have fire departments and emergency services that are understaffed. So let's talk about your priorities and goals and how you share that with your team members. What how do you describe that? Kind of the overall, if you will, looking at how you serve the community. What's important to the fire department and the EMS?
Sure. The biggest thing that we have is making sure that we run responsibly and provide the best service possible. So when I say responsibly is we're working under a levy system that is funded by property tax. And we want to make sure that the decisions that we make in the department are the best ones for the service of the community because everything costs money. We want to be good financial stewards of the taxpayer's money. So we do a lot of training on not only how to keep ourselves safe so that we don't have injuries and workers' claims and that type of stuff, but also keep our equipment safe so that it's operational and available for the people. But most importantly, providing top-notch care for every resident, whether it be fire or EMS.
So as you fulfill those goals, again, how do you share that with your team members? Do you have meetings? Is there, I mean, do you put it on bulletin boards? How does it get communicated?
So we have it down to where every day there's a morning briefing. So if there's any change in our plans or what we want to do with the department, they're briefed every day on that. But we have other meetings like quarterly meetings with our lieutenants and yearly meetings with our complete staff, as well as the chief and I started something which is very well received by the group, and he does like a Friday update where he sends out updates as far as projects that are going on in the department and changes in our operation, that type of stuff, to make sure everybody hears it directly at least as frequently as possible.
And that communication flow in any organization is crucial. I'm sure you agree with that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I'm so glad that you are spending time with us today, so we can communicate to the public what is essential. Is there anything I've missed? Anything else you want to add?
I just one thing that we have been doing that I wanted to make mention of that a lot of people don't know about is we have a program called MIH, Mobile Integrated Health. Some people may know it as community paramedicine. It's becoming more popular at many departments, and what it is it's a fire department's way of offering its staff's help to residents so that they can stay in their homes as long as possible. We currently have one individual working that not full time, but as often as possible, doing things like installing grab rails or handrails. He's done things like build ramps. We'll stop and do assessments on patients before it becomes an emergency so that he can get other services involved to assist them in staying in their home or get them the help that they need. So we're trying to expand that program. We were in a joint venture with Springfield Fire on that, and they've kind of branched off on their own. So we've kind of had to find our own way of doing things. The program's kind of complicated though because it's not a billing program that we can do with insurance at this time. There are some bills in place trying to help fund it that way. But currently, the only way that program is funded is through donations. So to get donations from private individuals or companies so that we can use those funds and those donations to buy things like the handrails and things like that that we need. We're unable to use any department or tax funded money for that at this time. The only thing that we are able to do is pay for that staff member to go out and do that, those types of things.
Where would the information be located if either somebody wants to donate or perhaps are interested in inquiring about getting some services at their home?
Well, currently at this time, a lot of it's through word of mouth and through other services that put that out there. The Center for Aging and that type of stuff is a partner we work with quite a bit and stuff. But we use our social media as much as we can. It's just kind of one of those things where we haven't been able to really blast it as a service available because we just don't have the funding and the staff to do it now. But we're continuing to try to build that program and make it more available.
Well, maybe somebody out there in Radio Land will will contact you to help fund and make some donations.
That would be great.
Jeff Bennett, thank you so much for spending time with us. Really appreciate it, and best to you and your department.
All right. Thank you very much.
And I'm Brian Trauring, and you're listening to WSYL.